Alrighty, guys, I got my mate Duncan here. So, what do you think about Ron DeSantis?
So, if we get into an actual, genuine conversation about Ron DeSantis, we'd be here for way too long, right?
Sure.
And we would be here for literally hours. I have a lot to say about him, but I'll try and condense it as short as I can, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Ron DeSantis at a very surface level, he looks like not necessarily a moderate Republican, but a Republican who cares more about issues that the people care about, right?
Like, is that a good thing?
Basically he's a politician that is more anti-establishment, more populist, right? Or tries to at least portray himself that way.
Wait, is that good or bad?
I think, I'm trying to talk about the way he portrays himself, right? Of course, if he's literally like that, then yeah, I'd say that's generally a good thing. But it's kind of, if you think about it, it is similar to the strategy that Trump used in 2016, but the way he's approaching it is significantly different because he still talks kind of like a politician where he tries to be professional, right? Mm-hmm. And he also tries to tackle issues different. He tackles way specifically different issues compared to Trump, whereas Trump was going on about immigration and bringing jobs back to America despite not doing either of those when he got into power. That's a different conversation. And but Ron DeSantis is more about his whole thing was like about COVID, right, and how he didn't like that lockdowns were happening in other states, and his whole policy was he didn't want that, and also just he tackles a lot of culture war issues, right, which I think are a waste of time, but
That's interesting.
My thing with Ron DeSantis is the way he portrays himself and the way he acts are pretty different. Like, he portrays himself to be very much in favor of freedom, yet he literally wants marijuana banned only specifically because it smells bad. He said that before. That's not freedom.
Interesting.
This bill would take a long time to get into.
What bill is it?
It's the Don't Say Gay bill. We'll not get into that. That would take too long.
Yeah. So, bro?
I don't think you're gonna win that bet.
What happened, dog?
Eckler has 2 receptions and the Chargers just fumbled it.
God damn, Trevor Lawrence always pulling Trevor Lawrence. See, the thing with the Don't Say Gay bill, I don't know if you heard what they were doing with kids in school, but did you ever hear about the genderbread man?
The genderbread?
The genderbread man. Did you ever hear about that?
No.
And see, this is what this bill is, and I don't know if you heard, but it wasn't called the Don't Say Gay bill.
That was what it was subtitled. That's what people... It was nicknamed that.
What happened was they were teaching kids about gender, about sexuality, kindergartners, first graders, second graders. I'm like, why? Even when we were taught in 4th grade about sexuality, I thought we were way too young. And I don't regret it because I'm glad I know about this shit. But I thought we were still way too young. And when you were pushing the genderbread man onto people's kids and you did not check with the parents first about it, basically the genderbread is, man, it's a structure.
Okay. Well, because I know kind of what you're going to get into already, right? I have no issue with specifically targeting that. If you don't want to teach kids about sexuality, right, I got no issue with that. And in fact, I completely understand it, right?
I would not want my kids being taught that young.
My issue was the bill's way too vague. And what that does is...
It gave a lot of people space to push.
It gives the government too much power. It allows the government to punish teachers for specifically even stating they're in a gay relationship. If they even mention, if let's say you have a male teacher, right, and they mention they have a husband, that can get you fired. Under the bill, and in fact, it's required. And it's same with, they were even firing teachers for having rainbow colors in their classrooms.
Interesting.
That, really?
What grades were these?
It was 2nd grade, I think. It was young. But we're talking rainbow colors. We're not talking about anything associated with it.
Were the rainbow colors meant to be political?
Probably should have read more into it, though.
For me, I'm like, look, if you're in 5th grade, by then you should really start being introduced to the world.
I
Because the
agree.
world is
I
not
do-
just you.
I
but
actually didn't learn until
2nd grade, I do not want you pushing this on my kids.
I didn't learn about.
Chances are you're probably going to learn it way before you're supposed to.
You probably are.
I was introduction. Okay, so I was on the. You know this about me.
Mhm.
I've been on the internet since I was way too young, right? Somehow didn't learn about anything sexually related until I was.
I love how you're pure to the end.
What?
I love how you were pure just until last year.
No, I actually didn't learn about it until I was supposed to when I was in 5th grade when they did the
Well,
fucking family
yeah,
life
yeah,
introduction.
for me it was
which
about
is a
5th
good
grade
time
too.
to learn it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good time to learn it.
You know, what are you in 5th grade? Like, what, you're like
10 or 11.
14? No. Yeah, you're 10.
14, bro. How old were you? You were
No, I
you were held
8th
back.
grade, you're yeah, dude, probably. No, you're 14 8th grade, that's
Yeah.
right. 13, 14, yeah, but okay. Damn, are you really still 10 years old in 5th grade?
Yes. Okay,
Christ.
I know it sounds really young, but if you think
You
about
do
it,
know a lot of 5th grade.
but okay, when
You're 5 when you're in kindergarten, so 5 years later you'd be
okay,
10.
okay,
It's great.
Anyway,
okay. So the 10 or 11, right?
Mhm.
Most people in 5th grade are 11, right? Well, the whole point of teaching you that young is so that you know it in case you end up doing it when you're in like middle school or whatever, right? You know what to do.
dude, if you're doing it in middle school, you're the luckiest bastard or the dumbest bastard.
I think you're the dumbest
I
bastard.
don't think your sexual organs even work yet. Probably barely.
I don't know why we're talking about it.
I don't think you can get a girl pregnant yet, but
I mean, I first jerked off when I was 12.
bro, this is on video. Anyway, go.
I feel like everybody did when they were 12. No?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's just funny. You just like confess that. Like that's just.
But if
epic.
most people are learning it at 11, right?
Uh-huh.
That's a year later. For me, it was 2 years because I was 10 when I learned it. But
Bruh, dude, that's a funny.
that's
Dude,
a funny.
That's a funny, dude. That is an funny moment, dude. For me, Ron DeSantis, I really like what he did with Florida because we have Gavin Newsom who's going to be running against him in 2024, dude. And this motherfucker.
I hope neither of them run.
See, I know he's going to, though. I know it's going to be a face-off between Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom. And Gavin Newsom's
If Gavin,
strong.
okay, let me tell you something.
And
right?
he's evil.
Okay, let me tell you something. Gavin Newsom isn't popular anywhere outside of California.
But he got reelected after they tried getting him out of power. They kept him.
They didn't have any Democrats running against him. California is a one-party state.
It's just crazy,
You think
dude.
there'd be better people
We're-
than him?
Okay,
It's just awful what
the
he
reason
did.
Gavin Newsom won in the first place over his Democratic peers was he promised to be more progressive, right, and offer Californians things that are popular, right? Like one of the things he promised was a state subsidized universal health care system that would replace Medi-Cal, right? And he actually was super aggressive against his opponents for fake supporting it, and then he got into power, and the California Congress passed it, and he vetoed it.
That's what you were talking about. That he vetoed it, didn't he?
And the reason he vetoed it was he got a $4 million donation from insurance companies.
It's just he's
It's
fucking
Californians
nuts.
don't even like him
But they kept him.
because they prefer him over a Republican. They were one
And
party state.
it's just that nuts because they will do it again, dude, in 2024. Like it's just
Why doesn't every state do what Virginia does, where you only get one term and then you have to wait a term before you can run again?
because
Like
that would be smart, probably.
Youngkin will not get reelected. If he wants to go again, he has to go again in 2028, and by that point, I guarantee you Virginia's going to be more blue. So I think he's only getting one term.
I think if states go back and forth at a healthy rate, that's good.
I think that's why Virginia politics is for the most part way better than other states. It's significantly better. The separation of power is better. It's more consistent, right? And on top of that, you end up, because there's a little bit of a fight back from Republicans, right? They still have power, right? There's still a lot of people in Virginia
What if
Congress.
that was just the rule? 4 years Democrat, 4 years Republican.
No, because it's not reflective of the people. The people have to vote, bro.
Yeah, but think about it. Everyone would get their way eventually, and you'd give chance and time for everything to develop.
I mean, sure, but then, like, the whole point of politics is people voice their vote, right? And if one party keeps winning, then the other party has to slide that direction
Right.
to match it, because it means the people are sliding one direction.
But, if someone slides too hard, it results in a civil war, and tensions keep rising, dude. I mean, we had one civil war. I don't want a second one.
I mean, it's been 200 years. 150.
150.
What does this Gettysburg Cup say? Yeah, it's been about... Yeah, we're a little shy of 200, but we're getting there.
We're due for another one.
Yeah, we're due for an oil change, yeah. We gotta change out the government again, yeah.
But anyway, actually, let's go back to Ron DeSantis, because we were talking about him,
yeah.
right?
I like him.
I think a lot of things he does is for public appearances too. Like for one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said he was going to be really tough on like people who were fraudulently voting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things was this is really fucking slimy, but I'm going to tell the whole story.
What did he do?
So one of the things he did was before the 2020 elections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like right before the elections, he made it illegal for former felons to vote, right? Most people didn't know about that, and the former felons who ended up voting were told specifically by government officials that they were allowed to vote, and they did vote, right? And then they basically were told they had the right to do it, right? And then 2 years later now, there's these videos of cops arresting these former felons for illegally voting, right? And
so what? Courthouses said they were allowed to vote, but Ron DeSantis said no.
Courthouses said they were allowed to vote, but Ron DeSantis passed the bill right before the election, making it illegal for felons to vote. But they already had their voter registration and everything ready, and nobody turned them away. But they still got arrested for voter fraud, right?
How many days were they arrested for?
Some people were
they just detained or what?
It was up to the courts for a lot of them, right? They got arrested and they went to court. For a lot of courts, they ended up saying that's bullshit and releasing them, right?
So was it a bill that was passed?
It was passed.
Interesting.
And
now, why was it just felons?
in some states, it's illegal for felons to vote. I don't know why they do that. I feel like that's fucked up. If they already did their time, why not give them the right to vote?
There was a guy that I like. His name's Tim Pool. I've told you about him, right?
Yeah.
And he believes the same thing. Yeah, he probably do. Yeah. He believes the same thing. He believes if you've done your time and you've changed your life, who the
hell cares? I understand
here's
not
your
letting
rights
them vote.
back.
I understand not letting them vote in jail, but once they're out of jail, why are you getting rid of their rights anyway? But that was a bill passed, and then he did a whole performance where he was arresting these illegal voters, right? Who were just ruining our democracy by doing what they were told they could do and exercising their right. And I saw that, I was just like, man, what a fucking slimy fuck. Like, God. And he...
So, that is pretty shady, but...
I'm sorry, he's another politician. He's a smart politician. He knows how to portray himself. There's a reason he got reelected in Florida.
But so is Gavin Newsom. And dude, the shit Gavin Newsom did to California, dude, keeping people locked up in their homes for a year, keeping businesses shut down for a year. He let Hollywood continue to make movies because they had enough money to pay him out. But every other business was like, nope, you got to stay closed. Stay closed.
I mean, we could go on.
I thought that was bullshit.
We could go on about Cuomo too in New York.
Dude, Andrew Cuomo was a slimy motherfucker.
Yeah, it's like, okay, like I don't mean to just attack one party here because both are pretty bad, but the reason I don't know, I don't want to say I get irritated, but it's so like, it's weird hearing people say that like Ron DeSantis is not like a typical politician, because I'm like, he portrays himself that way, but that's not true.
I think everyone in power ultimately is trying to protect their own ass.
It's true, yes.
Most people, I think that's absolutely the case.
And when you keep hearing that DeSantis is he's literally is the front runner to become the next president. He's actually starting to become more popular than Donald Trump, especially with the whole January 6th thing, right? Well,
that's the thing, but I don't think January 6th is going to be the big thing. I've been looking at Trump, and I looked at Trump when he was praising DeSantis for what he's done with Florida. And now, because Ron DeSantis is a potential competitor, now he's like, oh, here is Ron DeSantis. Oops. Because Trump calls people names, right?
Yeah.
And 2016, it was funny because no one had done that before. Not like he
now
did.
It's like, it's so tiring. I'll be real.
It's redundant.
I'll be real. Trump's not winning again. I don't think he's ever getting close to the White House again. It doesn't matter how hard.
I don't think he should. But ultimately, it's going to be a runoff between Trump and DeSantis.
God, okay.
Well, remember, the top Democrats have to face off, and the top Republicans have to face off.
I hope Biden doesn't run again.
I don't think he's going to be
it doesn't
alive,
matter.
dude.
The Democrats are winning.
I'm gonna be
In
okay.
2024.
I'll be real. If it's Trump versus Biden again, I think Biden's winning.
What do you mean it's 124 at the top?
No, I said in 2024 the Democrats are winning. It doesn't matter who the Republican is.
Well, why do you say that?
That's interesting.
What specifically makes you think that? I think if Biden wins again, I do agree. But
have you seen how badly the Republican Party has done over the past 4 years?
well, okay, you got to remember something. Voters have short-term memory loss, right, or long-term memory loss, right?
And
They-
people just forget shit, dude.
Dude,
So,
the Republicans are so unpopular right now.
Okay, I will agree with you there because so midterms typically whoever is currently in charge gets destroyed, right? And when Obama was president during his own midterms, he lost the Senate while having a supermajority beforehand, and he lost 60 seats
Isn't
in the
it
House.
crazy having that much power and then screwing that much shit up that you just lose that much favor with people?
Well, it's no.
He still got reelected.
The thing is Obama had a supermajority in the Senate and a majority in the House, right? He could pass whatever he wanted, and the things he did were Obamacare, some light regulation on Wall Street, and some light stimulus, which is actually less than the stimulus Trump gave us. You know, the supposedly small government guy. Obama gave us less stimulus for a recession than Trump gave us for not a recession, but instead a pandemic.
You know what's funny, though?
That's
People
isn't
still
that
took that
pathetic?
money.
Isn't it pathetic? Obama could have done so much and chose to do the lightest, smallest improvement to the healthcare system.
And, dude,
There's a reason he got destroyed in the midterms. He didn't do anything.
well, he started more wars.
You
he said he
don't need
wasn't going to do that.
You don't need a supermajority to do that. You can have any party in Congress that start a war. Both sides
No,
are
like,
for
I'm
it.
saying as an awful
Let's be
thing.
real.
He started more wars.
Yeah, I know.
He's responsible for the shit in Yemen and how those people have no food. There's absolute fucking famine there.
Well, actually, it's not just Obama.
I mean, it's every fucking president for the last 20 years.
When Trump was a president, he took a bribe from Saudi Arabia, tens of millions of dollars, to support their genocide in Yemen, and he did it.
Damn.
And so, but yeah, I hate politicians. Oh, okay. So Youngkin is a Republican that I don't dislike that much, but I still think
I like Youngkin.
I still think he's a typical
Glenn
politician.
Youngkin, I like him.
I'll tell you one thing that I think he did that made him win the election. So Northern Virginia, the place we are from, cares way too much about education, right? They are very, very big on education.
I'm disappointed we're 20th in education and we're the strongest power in the world. I think that's pathetic.
I agree.
We should be better.
Yeah, I was mainly saying it as a joke, but Northern Virginia, that's all I care about is education, right?
Dude, Gen Zs are stupid.
Yeah.
Did you say, yeah, that's us?
Yeah.
No, bro.
Dude, do you know how much Fairfax County public school funding is ridiculous, dude. They get so much money.
Hey, man, you got
their school lunch
Fairfax,
is
you got the
still-
Capital, you got Arlington, you got all these places up. Dude,
Not to mention
lots
they're-
of rich areas. Man.
they get most-
Maryland's rich places.
They get most of it from property taxes. Their property is already expensive, but their property taxes are also way higher than most places in the country.
Well, you know what's sad
All that
about
money in their school lunch is still very mid.
I agree. And you also have to pay for it. It's not free.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason I bring that up, right?
Mhm.
It correlates to Youngkin because Youngkin's, most of his campaign was on education.
right?
Which is, okay, I think Northern Virginia still went mostly in favor of, I forget the other fucker's name who ran against. He was terrible.
He was
He was
going for
terrible.
re-election, wasn't
Terry McAuliffe. Yeah, he was going.
He couldn't go for re-election.
No, because he had to wait one because there was another.
So was he coming back from that, or?
He was coming back because he was governor from 2012 to 2016.
See, because I didn't know that when
Yeah.
I first moved here. I didn't know that.
And we had a different governor. I forget his name. He was pretty good,
Ralph
actually.
Northam?
Yeah, Ralph Northam was actually
He
pretty good.
legalized marijuana, right? He was the one.
He
that
legalized
passed it.
marijuana. He abolished the death penalty.
He put
He capped the price. He capped the price of insulin so that people don't die from
And you're
taking
saying that
life
it's
saving
so
drug.
people just don't freaking rip people off and just here you are. This was the set price. There you go.
He subsidized prices of community colleges to encourage people to go to community college and then transfer to bigger colleges to make it cheaper and less crowded, right? He did a lot of things that were great, and then Republicans won. And you think, well, if Democrats did so much good things, why did they lose? And the big thing was they didn't campaign on it. Terry McAuliffe didn't campaign on any of the accomplishments done by Democrats.
Well, they weren't his accomplishments.
It doesn't matter. He could say that he'll continue them, right? That's all he has to do. His entire campaign was saying that Youngkin was Trump and Trump is bad.
See, that was the problem too, and Republicans do the same thing. It's like, oh, Democrats bad, oh, Republicans bad, and it's like, look, that's cool. No one gives a shit no more.
And then you know what Youngkin still did? Youngkin campaigned on education. He promised to increase teacher salaries. That's a big thing, because teachers get paid okay in Fairfax, but it's like $50,000, right? They could probably use more money with how expensive.
Are those counties so rich, and your teachers are like?
Dude, $50,000 is like almost double what the average teacher makes. I'm not kidding, dude. We as zipliners made as much money as what most teachers make.
You know what's funny though?
And they have to go to college for like 6 years to do that.
It's going to be a little difficult to determine what makes a good teacher, but if you're a good teacher, you should be paid more. But if you're a teacher that's just brainwashing my kids into shit I don't want them to learn at 12,
Well, okay, if you want better teachers, you're going to have to pay them more, because all the good teachers are going to college to be professors because they get paid six figures there.
Even the colleges, dude. The colleges just like trying to make just these armies of people fighting for social justice and shit. I'm just like,
another thing is also colleges are run by nonprofit corporations, whereas teachers in high schools are public funded, so you can have more regulation.
Dude, but these colleges, man, fucking blowing money on like stadiums and shit. It's like, look at our college. We got all these pools. We have these stadiums. It's like, why don't you just give the money back to the kids?
You do know that colleges don't actually pay for their own stadiums, right?
Who pays for them?
Taxpayers.
We pay for that shit.
And not just that, NFL stadiums are the same way.
That's fucking bullshit.
NFL owners who are billionaires take taxpayer money. And their argument
bastards.
Their argument is that it'll make more money than what the city pays, right?
So money back, and I think that is true.
Okay, but these fuckers are billionaires.
But it's still stupid that we have to pay for that.
Especially with how shit the Commander Stadium is. You're like, yeah, the taxpayers are paying millions of dollars for that.
Well, see, I think the Commander Stadium was pretty nice. I haven't been to either. I've only been to Lambeau Field.
Dude, there's so many better stadiums.
Dude, the Commander Stadium's like falling apart.
What was it pretty when we went there?
We were up high, that's why. If you go down to the low, those like fences that block you from hitting the field are loose, and some people have literally fallen and hit the field and like hit their head.
Isn't that what you're paying for, though? The experience? No, that's fucked.
And also, one time that actually hit an Eagles player.
Ooh.
And the Eagles player tried to sue the Commanders for that.
Did it work?
No.
No, I was going to say the NFL shut him off and just paid him some hush money.
Dude, fucking Dan Snyder's a piece of shit. I want him to die. Anyway, let's go.
Was that the old coach?
No, he's the owner of the Commanders.
Oh, that's right.
I think they're trying to push him out, right?
They're trying, but he doesn't want to leave. So anyway, let's go back to my original discussion about Glenn Youngkin.
Right. Yeah. Fuck Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, Gavin. Okay. Youngkin wanted to increase teacher salaries, right? Another thing was he said he wanted parents to have more of a voice in what their kids were learning, right? And dude, that's like
not the gingerbread man.
Yeah, that was dude, that's like fucking crack for fucking like that's like handing out free weed to fucking like the parents there, because those parents care a lot about education, right? So
I think we should care a lot about what our kids are learning.
Yes, and I agree.
They should be learning better things.
But one of the things he did, right, was one of his big campaign promises was ending critical race theory, which is hilarious because critical race theory was never taught in Virginia. It was never taught in Virginia. Do you know what critical race theory actually is? Let's have a quick discussion on that.
Yeah, go for it, because I've heard both things on
both sides.
Critical
race theory.
I can't get a congruent answer.
Critical race theory is a college level course, right? That teaches you about how your race affects your like how you end up and how you live, right? And how it affects your life choices, right? And it's very complicated, right? It's typically taught to lawyers, right?
Isn't that kind of fucked to tell someone what color your skin will determine your future?
It goes on statistics and how like and how society
But
treats you.
statistics can change, and people
Of course
can
it can.
change.
Well, that's the point of the class. It's supposed to teach you, like, well, like we could say that we are not racist as much as we want, but like generally, a lot of society treats minorities differently, even if they don't think they are. That was the whole point. But the whole reason why I don't want that taught to kids is they wouldn't fucking understand it. Yes, don't teach that kids. It's a waste of taxpayer money. They wouldn't understand it. It's a college level course for a reason, right? The whole critical race theory thing was brought up because there was discussion on having that college level course be available for high school seniors so they wouldn't have to take it in college, right? And somehow that got spun around as we're teaching fourth graders that white people are evil. And I'm just like, and so Glenn Youngkin ran half his campaign on eliminating CRT.
I remember
and
that.
Terry McAuliffe never challenged him on it. He never said it wasn't a thing. He never even denied. And during one of the debates, Glenn Youngkin said, "You support critical race theory." Terry McAuliffe didn't even refute it. It's like he didn't even try it.
He said yes or no? What did he say?
He didn't even refute it. He just tried to change the topic. He tries every opportunity.
Cool.
He just tries to change every topic to Glenn Youngkin is Trump, and it's like, stop it. That's not tracking.
I
right?
don't think it was strong enough of a...
Anyway, Glenn Youngkin got elected, barely, but he did get elected, right? And one of his first actions as governor, and he publicized it and everything, was banning CRT, which must have been the easiest executive order because you're banning something that doesn't exist.
Did you
It's like
see that
banning
video
aliens.
in other states? I think
It's
that was
like
the
it's like
thing
signing
too.
an executive order to ban aliens.
Well, you know what though? If we ever get that passed and then aliens do come to Earth, and then it's gonna be that whole new race thing, do people from outer space have the same rights as human beings? And it's just gonna be that-
Yes, you can apply
But
that
it's not
same
going to be
order.
our problem because it's not going to happen.
But is that a great accomplishment?
I think if you pass bills for future generations that don't have to worry about it because you already made it illegal.
I guess if you think about it as Glenn Youngkin passed a bill so that CRT would never be taught in Virginia schools in the future, okay, I don't care. It's such the thing that's so hilarious about it is it's such a non-issue that it doesn't matter, but somehow it was the biggest thing.
Did you see that video? And I don't know what state it was, and this is what scared people because it was happening in other states and where it was being taught.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this teacher, this student was filming his teacher. It was probably his 5th grade, 6th grade teacher. And she walked up to the class with her mask and everything, and she was like, I want to make everyone clear that because of your skin color, you are an oppressor. And she deadass told everyone that.
I'm not sure the context of that. I would definitely have to look into that. But if that's real and that actually happened, that is shitty. And I agree.
And that's disgusting that you would tell young people that.
Yes.
That the color of your skin makes you the reason that you're shit. You're not an oppressor because of that. That is disgusting.
Telling young white kids who haven't fucking done anything in life, right, yet, because they're little kids.
To tell people you're evil just
telling
because
people
of the color of
you're
your skin.
evil, right? Like you are inherently you are causing problems in society.
That's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
No, and that's the fear. And telling the same thing with telling kids of other skin colors. It's like, look, you're gonna fail in life because of the color of your skin, and then it's just because you're gonna look for every reason why. You're like, oh, I didn't get that trophy. Oh, it's because I'm black. Oh, I didn't get that trophy. It's because I'm Mexican. Oh, look, I'm a piece of shit because I'm white. It's like, no.
I do agree that we should.
And that's how you tear apart society.
I agree that we should definitely teach history and how America used to oppress people, right?
How it was and everything.
Teach not like little kids, but teach like middle and high schoolers, right?
Americans. I think 5th grade's a good time to start.
Genocided the Native Americans, right? Yes,
We stole. Yeah.
we stole land. We enslaved black people. It's just part of history. The whole point is we're trying to move past
teach that the natives would murder like people who built a house somewhere, and they would come and like murder all 3 of them, the father, the mother, and the child, and burn the house to the ground.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if someone's on your land building shit and you don't want them there, I get it. But at the same time, like skin human beings and then fucking kill them, burn their, that's still fucked.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, the whole point is because somehow this becomes the conversation of we should teach kids history, right? And I'm just like, no, you can teach history, just teach it at the right time, but definitely show all of it, right? Like,
not just, oh, this is the Democrats, oh, this is the Republican side. Like, teach everything.
Because there's some people who don't think we should teach kids about America's past, right? like its hateful parts, right? Not
Just like Germany should teach their kids about what they did.
Well, Germany tries to pretend Nazis never happened.
Dude, they erase it from history.
They try not to.
And
like,
that's
unacceptable. Terrible. You caused this. At least own up to it, and because okay, if we own up to the fact that yes, this country has done bad things, then we can accept that it's happened, right, and move on, try to learn from it, and try to prevent it from ever happening again.
Yeah, your little country started 2 world wars. Jesus Christ.
I mean, America is only 250 years old, right? And in its history, they've committed genocide. They've enslaved an entire race of people, right? But we've also become the most powerful country in the world, and we're considered the land of opportunity. And that's kind of a wacky history, right?
You know what I don't like?
Let's try to embrace that last part.
I don't like when everyone says, oh, America's so awful, and they act like no other country's done this shit.
Oh, no. Well, the whole point is I want America to be good, and to do that, we have to acknowledge that it's been bad.
Every country has done awful things, including America. America's not this blind, perfect reality, no.
China's committing genocide as we speak.
As we speak. To Muslims.
Yes.
And it's like, dude, that is religious persecution at its ugliest. That is what they're doing. They are doing the same thing Germany did to the Jews.
The whole reason why I bring that up, though, is what would make America the greatest country in the world is if we genuinely acknowledged all of our bad things, and then we try to change for the good.
Universal healthcare.
Dude, I would love universal healthcare. That's a whole different topic.
Well, see, you could do it if we stop being the world police, and maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe we can do both. No, okay, no, I'm kidding. I don't want to be the world police.
Yeah, I do think it's really stupid how America has to be involved whenever there's some bullshit going on in Europe.
Because America, fuck yeah.
It's like, you're the superpower, so you have to be involved in this conflict.
So I remember Bill Clinton kind of popular. Okay, there's obviously presidents before him who done it, right? Mm-hmm. But Bill Clinton really popularized it as a bipartisan thing because his whole thing was we should strengthen NATO and we should make the United States peacekeepers because if the United States gets involved, theoretically evil like powers won't get bigger, right?
I think that's why China and Russia haven't tried to expand until now.
I theoretically like NATO, but I also think it's flawed. I'm not sure if we should get rid of it.
Poland got struck and they denied the attack.
Well, Poland didn't invoke Article 5. If they invoked Article 5, then NATO would have to do something.
Pussies, dude. They know they got hit by Russia, and they did not.
They don't want to cause a nuclear fallout from two people.
No, they don't. But they also failed to understand that you guys know that they did this, and they know they did this.
What would you do if you were Poland?
I would demand that I would talk to the whole council of NATO, and I would demand that Russia summon everyone. Say, guys, we got hit, and Russia knows they did it, and we know that they know that we did it. And it's like, dudes, call a summons, and we have to come to Russia now. Look, we will forgive you for what you've done, everything, but you have to stop your conflict now.
And you have to take accountability.
You have to take accountability for what you've done. You have to leave Ukraine alone.
And I'd add a caveat. Remove Putin from power. He's proven that he can't be trusted. He's a dictator.
He's about to die. He is.
He has Parkinson's.
Let them deal with that. But as for everything else, like, look,
I don't care if he's about to die. If he's trying to end the world, get the fuck out of there.
If you hear the man who's destined to replace him, you don't want him in power just yet.
Maybe we should abolish that whole... No, we shouldn't fucking get involved.
Yeah, let's just get rid of Russia.
We're just gonna take over Russia.
Let's just get rid of Russia.
Why am I
just advocating for genocide as we ruled out the death penalty?
No. Not genocide. I was basically advocating for what the United States tried to do in Afghanistan and Iraq, which has proven not to work.
Well, because we were trying to deal with people who want to live a certain way, and we try to get in the middle of that without
let's be real.
Force.
Middle Eastern countries are not going to be Western democracies, and we should stop pretending that they will.
Well, that was the joke, too. It's like, look, you try to change people who've lived this way for several thousand years, and they will be here probably long after us.
So you know how a lot of African countries are developing, right? Mm-hmm. I've always wondered why that's the case, right? Like, why specifically Africa? Why is that so destroyed? Looked at a lot of history.
They keep having revolutions.
Nope, it's Europe's fault.
Well, because they came in there and took power, and now they left, and there's their vacuum. You were saying
because European countries did a lot of colonialism, and then they backed off. And like 100 years
See,
ago.
that's the thing too.
So
if you
a
want
lot
to
of
talk
this-
shit about America, like, look, Britain's not perfect either.
Dude,
Like,
Britain is worse than Britain's worse than us.
and they came after us too. So everybody chill.
Dude, Britain went to war with every country.
Yeah, what'd you say,
I
man?
think Britain has invaded like 80% of the countries on Earth.
Including us. They've
Yeah.
invaded us in 1812. They burned down the White House.
Did they burn down our house and
They
then they
are-
played AJR afterwards?
They are the
They
are
We're gonna
biggest.
burn this whole house down.
they were the only foreign power to genuinely get on our soil and attack.
Well, technically, it was part of their territory at one point, and then we were
I
like,
don't give
"No,
a shit,
it's our
bro.
land."
We're on native territory.
Well, see,
It's also the Brits'
technically,
fault that
can you
happened.
blame the Brits?
You can blame
Technically,
you can blame the Brits and the French actually mostly for.
well, I'm gonna give the French a pass because they did help us.
I'm not giving up. I was about to mention how they committed genocide, bro. You're giving them a pass for genocide?
I
Also,
think France keeps killing itself, so technically that government did die. So it's a new state.
Okay, so since that genocide, I'm pretty sure they've had like 6 governments fall and restart.
Did
so
you see that riot that was a couple of years ago? They freaking stormed. they did the Capitol storming in their version. Honestly, I think our stormings were pretty similar because none of the guys used guns at the Capitals.
So the leader of France,
They both got tear gas.
the leader, his name is Macron, right? He is very unpopular in France, right? But he somehow got nominated again, and basically I'll give a TLDR of